It is okay.
And we're back.
This thing is acting weird.
Take two. Yeah, well, we tried to show something funny that we liked, and the people who own it said, you can't do that. So,
We got put in the kitty corner.
yeah. So, fuck them. I ain't showing their shit no more. They can suck a peen. So, I am going to go get my Dr. Pepper. I will be right back.
Ooh,
You can also give me that book you owe me to borrow.
Oh, yes. I will do that too.
Hey, I can't be the only one that doesn't know about this book.
So I didn't watch a lot of Star Wars when I was younger. My mother wasn't into it. I didn't have any exposure. So I started rewatching them when I started watching everyone's streams here. And he's insisted that I also get into the extended universe since I had a lot of qualms with details I didn't know about. So he made me rewatch all of the original 6 before he would lend me any of his books.
That's that puts you in the same boat that we all had to go through as Star Wars fans. You have the first 3 movies, and then by 85, a lot of hype's dying down, except for the people who really enjoyed Star Wars or people who are collecting, things like that already. And I mean, until like the mid 90s, so 10 years of just your favorite thing dying more and more every year. And then they give out the license to create more content.
Yeah.
On something.
I botched it the first time I watched it. I didn't watch it in the quote reverse order. So I watched it with Anakin first, and I got too sympathetic for him. So I couldn't actually enjoy the movies the way I was supposed to. I had too much empathy going on. So I had to wait a few years to actually get back into the actual vibe of it and watch them properly.
Yeah, I can get that too, because when they made the movies, every time George Lucas is making a movie, he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna make another. I'll be surprised if I can finish the rest of this." So every movie, they're thinking, "What can I put into this? Because I may not get another one. I have to tell enough story. I can't give too much away, but I have to say enough." And yeah, Empire Strikes Back comes out, but if it bombs, no Return of the Jedi. So you seeing it in that backwards order, you get a very different view, because he made them the 4, 5, and 6 first. If he had made 1, 2, 3 first, 4, 5, and 6 wouldn't have held the same gravity that they did. It would have been a different.
Exactly. And I didn't know there was
you feel for Anakin.
Yeah, and I didn't know there was an order to it until actually a few years ago when I saw some people talking about it, and I was like, wait, this makes a lot of sense. Okay, it's been long enough now. I should, have let the emotions behind it fade off. I can try it again, almost like it's new.
And that could be something. I have always grown up with Star Wars out of order. The first movie was 4, then 5, then 6. Then I start getting EU stuff, which is before, after, during, way after, way before. And then we start getting prequels, which is 20 years before. And me having known all that stuff before, all I can do is fit it in with what I know. Not let's make sense of these 20 different stories and put them in chronological order. Every single book I had to read was like, okay, this book goes in this spot in the timeline. And I had done that with so many books and comics. So when Clone Wars came out, it was like, that's easy fitting. I can easily fit all this content they're coming out with in Clone Wars. All this happens between episode 2 and episode 3. You know, where before, like, I would get a Darth Bane book, and then I'd read a book about Luke Skywalker, and then I'd read a Rogue Squadron book, and then I'd read something about his grandkids. And this is releasing one after the other, and you have to put it. You can't stop and go, oh, let me reread these books just to get the content right. You've put it in. It's like bookmarked in your head. When you're raised on it, and all you know is those few years, and then even like the Thrawn trilogy. Again, there was several years before anything significant came out in Star Wars that we were like, okay, we have to remember this now. You know, there was lots of trilogies, lots of stories. Everybody likes different stuff, but someone who soaks it up from the beginning, you just put it all in order. The new movies come out, and it's like, oh, this happens 20, 30 years after Return of the Jedi. Mandalorian comes on, and you're like, okay, this happens almost right after Return of the Jedi. They're going to come out with a new show. So, and I'll just put it in place like you do everything else. You know, you make it fit. They give you enough detail. I was talking to somebody about this today. With the old Star Wars stuff before the buyout, there was always enough detail for it to be believable. And after the buyout, there was a lot of details left out, and we were left to just accept a lot of stuff. And I think that was the big difference, is Star Wars dealt with George Lucas, but he didn't really even direct his movies. How many directors did we have? And how many different writers did we have working with him? And then all of a sudden now there's 100 different more inclusive writers in the EU. And all these people can make stories that work. And then somebody who said they were so close to the system for so long makes something, and we as fans don't understand. I don't understand because as a fan, I don't understand. So how do the people that are closer to Star Wars make this? And I don't understand. That's what, it was just, there was a little bit of a disconnect there. And it wasn't, the story was decent. It just left out the detail that Star Wars has always included to make it believable. Just enough. We've always had questions, but it always makes just enough sense.
It makes sense for you to specifically have those kinds of questions, things that wouldn't always be explained in base stuff. Exactly.
For 30 years, I never even thought Anakin or Darth Vader could have had a Padawan. And then they introduce her. And almost within a year, I'm like, okay, I get it. It all makes sense why I didn't talk about her. They put enough details in there that made us believe it. There wasn't anything left over that we said as fans. It just doesn't make sense. They filled in enough. And I, as a fan, I know for a fact there's stuff we don't know still. Stuff that had happened with Anakin and Obi-Wan and Padme and Ahsoka, and conversations they had. And even between Anakin and Palpatine, they probably talked about all kinds of stuff that we never heard about. I mean, how far down did Anakin go before he actually broke?
Right.
And that's what the EU was. It shows us all those little different facets. Yeah, this guy, but I was his best friend for 20 years, or I fought with him in the military. Things like that change. Circumstance, how much time you spend with somebody, how close you are with somebody. You can be you can sit next to somebody in high school every day of your life. But until you live with them for 5 days or a week or 5 months, you don't know that. And Anakin and Obi-Wan were brothers, but
Oh yeah.
Anakin and Padme were lovers.
Yep.
And Rex knew about Padme, but Obi-Wan never got told. There's so much you don't know. There's so much facets you don't show other people. And I love how the old Star Wars showed us that kind of relatability. It was like, I may not have been through what you have been through, but I understand, conflicts of the heart, or losing a good friend, or somebody you thought was your buddy or your pal or someone you looked up to, and then something happens and you're like, I don't know why I ever trusted you. There's things happen. It's not as dramatic as Star Wars always makes it out to be, but it's always relatable.
Right. And that depth from the EU can be important in not just Star Wars, but anything that's got a lot of story into it. Because you obviously can't cover everything in movies or even comics, but books give you a lot more opportunity.
I've always looked at books like people, and I've even kind of talked about this argument on my own. Like, there's books that are written to be books, okay, which are most of the books we know. Like Jurassic Park was written to be a book first, then it was adapted into a movie. Star Wars was wrote to be a movie. But to me, I think of the book is the screenplay. And then the movie is what they could accomplish. You know what I mean? Like, the book is the script, but he didn't write a book and then base the movie off of it. He wrote a movie and then had to write a book because they wanted to make a novelization. This wasn't like when Dan Brown wrote The Da Vinci Code and then they made it a movie. That was a well-established book, or any of Tom Clancy or Stephen King or Mike Crichton, take your pick. They write novels that get adapted. Not many people write movies and then get to write the book and go, well, if I could do what I want, this is what I would have done. Because even in the novelization of episode 1, the movie starts out with the pod race that Anakin refers to later in the movie. The movie was supposed to start out with the pod race where Sebulba flashes Anakin with his vents and makes him crash. But only budget keeps that out of the movie.
Yeah.
And now, if you don't read the book, you know nothing about that. So it becomes kind of added EU. But the idea was still, he wrote that story to become a movie, and he just couldn't put it all in. And not all of them are done like, how many are Terminator might have been done like that, Avatar, but most of the stuff we know, The Shining, was a book. Anything Stephen King's done was a book first. Gone with the Wind was a book first. Wizard of Oz, book first. All of Disney's stuff, even though it's original, they're all taking old stories.
I understand.
So it's a little different when they're writing. And even, the cartoons, like we watched Clone Wars, they were creating story as they were making that cartoon.
Yep.
They're literally writing. Every season could have been a trilogy of movies, with as much content as they had in there. It was just,
I actually just started watching Clone Wars last week.
You're in for a great ride. Oh, well, I would suggest, if you've just started watching Clone Wars, you've seen all 6 movies and you haven't done a whole lot of EU yet, if you haven't seen the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars micro series, it's a true cartoon, like real drawn animation, where the Clone Wars is kind of a computer generated.
Oh, you talking about the 03 version?
Yes. The
Okay.
Genndy Tartakovsky was the artist who drew Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Laboratory and Samurai Jack and all those movies, all those cartoons that were super, I mean, more than uber popular in the late 90s, early 2000s. He got in contact with Lucas and they made a micro series. And Lucas, because of how good the first part of the micro series went, George Lucas presented him with the idea, hey, I want you to write an intro to episode 3. So he got to write Grievous and put Grievous in this Clone Wars cartoon, and they didn't even have a full concept for the character yet. They kind of knew what he was going to look like. They kind of knew his capability, but they didn't quite know what he would sound like. And they didn't have the episode 3 Grievous panned out when they gave it to Genndy. So he literally, a lot of the ideas and the things you see in his series, he had to do what every extended universe artist had to do at that time. From when they allowed the license to be used by other artists outside of Lucasfilm, they said, you can write and make up and do what you want, but you have to come to Skywalker Ranch and you have to have a meeting with my writers and my staff to make sure you're not contradicting anything that I'm allowing in my Star Wars universe. And that's what the extended universe was. You can write pretty much any story you want. You can make up a planet, characters, solar systems, whole plots, republics, empire, anything. But it cannot go against what is already written.
Yeah.
And there's when you really get into it, there's stories of different authors talking to different people and going, oh, well, I heard what you just put in your book and I want to stay consistent with you. And if they didn't do that, they're literally making their jobs easier at that point by communicating, because they would have to go to Lucasfilm, to Skywalker Ranch, and say, well, I want to do a story about Chewbacca. Like, okay, how old do you want Chewbacca to be? Okay, well, I want him to be this old. They're like, okay, he can't go to this planet, or this planet. And because of Return of the Jedi, he can't be here or here, and you can't destroy this planet. You know, you can't just make stuff up. And them keeping that congruency meant so much.
Yeah, they got to weave it in with what everybody else is doing or already done.
But they did it in the movies, and then they did it with, 200 novels, and then they did it with 20 different comic book series, and they kept all these hundreds of authors consistent, and all the authors that worked on this idea were totally happy to stay that way. That's what I didn't understand when the big change went over. It's like, so many people were on board with this, but you couldn't be happy with just, well, I'm going to write my own story. And it wasn't good enough just putting it far enough apart from the things. No, I have to change everything you wrote. That's what irked me. Everything after the purchase that came out, I saw as a direct kind of, I'm coming out with this idea, this concept, this media, this content, so I can change this old idea. Like they ruined Luke, and then they came out with Han Solo so they could change Han Solo. and then they'll come out with something else so they can change something else. It's like, why don't you just write a story that doesn't include Leia or Han or Luke? But no, they couldn't do that. They couldn't extend themselves 10 years farther and write the story, which would still, Kylo Ren could still be the same age as he is. They could have had their children later. All that stuff. But it was like, no, I'm going to make it a point to cancel everything you made. If you said this, I'm gonna say this. If you say this, I'm gonna say this. And that's when I started to really get hurt as a fan. Because it was, as a fan, I don't care if you make up your own stories. But why do you have to go out of your way to tear down what we have? And now you're showing me that, okay, you can be as much of a dick as any guy on the planet. Great. You have your equal rights now, Kathleen. Congratulations. You're a douchebag. I don't know. That's kind of how I see this wokeism kind of thing going. It's like, are you gonna drive in the point that you can be as corrupt as the most corrupt people? Because that's what I see. Let's make all the mistakes that the white man did. I just see it all happening again. And it's like, oh, here's another race doing it. Here's another ethnicity doing it. Here's another gender doing it. Let's just go through it all again.
Not just with Star Wars, but with everything in the media right now. I wish people would get away from the focus on the individual person and the politics and the drama and just make a story for the sake of the story so that you can share what it is. It's not an art form anymore. Everything has to be a power play.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's
Absolutely.
and that's kind of how I look at what Kathleen did, is like she took away the creativeness of the public. She said it wasn't enough, like I was saying before, it wasn't enough for your world and my world to coexist. It was, your world is gonna burn, so I can have my world, and that world's gonna burn out. Like Star Wars, she doesn't touch Star Wars, it never fades away all the way.
Yeah.
And she has literally made people turn away from it.
Oh, yeah.
I can't say I'll stop liking it because there's too much about it that I love. In any media, like Terminator 5 comes out and everybody's like, oh, it's crap. And it's like, well, I still love the first 3 or 4. I can't hate everything because of one. I'll still love what I love. I'm talking about 35 years of my life. How do you give that up? This is our childhood and all this kind of stuff. And it might be different if I never knew what a puppet looked like on TV. I might not have that nostalgia. I might not have that grip and unwillingness to let go of that old stuff.
And we would have never have known seagulls stop it now.
Stop it now.
Hands down, the best video ever on the planet.
Absolutely.
I mean, to be honest, as far back as we go, without Weird Al Yankovic, honestly, I mean, without Dr. Demento's radio show and Weird Al Yankovic and all these silly, stupid things that made us realize that even the things we love can't be taken that seriously. You gotta have, it's about the fun.
Yeah, without Dr. Demento, we would never have gotten Cows with Guns.
And I mean, honestly, without Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, does horror become mainstream?
And that's one of the things that people are so afraid now to get backlash or to not fit into what everyone else is doing. They're not doing anything different. Everybody's too afraid to be special or not be like. They're not thinking about how many people that weren't noticed in the beginning but blew up because it's something nobody had ever thought of or was brave enough to do.
It's too visual now. You get noticed because your video gets 1,000 views. You don't get noticed because you wore a Batman jacket in 1984 when he wasn't popular.
And that's
You know, I mean-
another part is that there's so much now that if you don't grab attention immediately, then you just get lost in an endless mound of stuff.
And that's half of society's mentality. You know, now it's attention grabbing, and I see us. I mean, and Daryl, you might really be able to remember this, but like the Max Headroom era,
Oh yeah.
when all of a sudden we started thinking of the future,
Mm-hmm.
and could it be different? And then all of a sudden, well, maybe the future isn't going to be perfect. Maybe it'll be dystopian. You know, and we started getting those movies where things weren't perfect in the future. And it was like, wow, this is, you know, and to be honest, ever since then, it's really, it changed. In the 50s, 60s, and 70s, we were really about the advancement of what we can become. And then after that, creativity kind of went toward what could happen and what's the disasters that we could inflict on ourselves. And it's not there. It's like fun is very few and far between now.
Yeah, I mean, James Cameron did it perfect with Terminator 2 because of what humans are doing, and humans are stupid. This is what's going to happen and turn the earth into a real shithole. Hi, baby.
And also, there was a Bruce Willis movie where eventually all the people get androids of themselves made, and then they don't have to go out, because why would they go out and chance walking across the street when they get hit by a car? You know, so they just stay home and they send their android unit out to do their work and to do their shopping and to do everything. And all of a sudden we're all homebodies. And, you know, it was kind of that play off. What, WALL-E? Is that the movie where all the people get fat?
Yeah, the little trash robots down on Earth, and all the people are in the spaceship and floating around on little lounge chairs.
Yeah, it was kind of, both of those movies were a very similar idea, but they were just the flip coin. One was more about, I don't want to go out because I don't want to get hurt or diseased or get raped or whatever. I don't want to be in danger. And then the other one was just convenience and fun.
Yeah,
like,
one
why would I have
was.
to go out if I can go on a roller coaster and stay on my couch?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's the thing with VR. I mean, VR is making it to where you don't have to leave the house to do anything. You can just exist through VR. It's becoming Ready Player One.
Yeah, and that, to me, that was when we didn't have VR. That was what life was. Like going out and grabbing life was kind of doing that thing that made you realize what it was to be alive.
Yeah.
And it could have been something that put you on the edge of you thinking you could die.
Yeah.
You know, depending on people's, you know, some people could drive 100 miles an hour in their car and feel invigorated. Some people have to jump off a damn building to feel it. But
And some people can just have a good sandwich.
you need that, you know.
Absolutely.
I always loved the things that my movies, my games, things like that. But as a human, as a normal person, I'm like, oh, you kind of got to let things go as you get older, and you can't be a 40-year-old man still collecting this shit. And
you know what I say to that? Right here, buddy.
When I found, you know, I never let it go. A lot of stuff, because as I grew up, and I started looking at my friends, and then being single in like my 30s, it was like, well, what do you do? What are your hobbies? And people would be like, oh, I people watch. I watch movies. I do this. And it's like, oh, so you're just saying a whole bunch of different things that mean you stay home and don't do shit. You know, I mean, it's like people watch. Oh, so you go to the bar and you don't talk to anybody? Is that what that means? I don't understand. You know, it was a non-social kind of thing. It was like people love playing online games. How many people do you actually talk to when you play online games?
Right.
Until
Yeah,
I started doing YouTube.
you know what I mean? Like people will watch YouTube videos all day long. How many people will jump on a stream?
Yeah, I
It's
finally just said the hell with it. I jumped on a stream with Robert Meyer Burnett. He threw out the link in the chat. Well, I mean, if you don't know him, he's
I
a
don't.
he's a Hollywood director, producer,
Oh,
and I mean, he's a real down to earth guy, and he's one of us. I mean, he may not agree with all of our ideals and stuff like that, but he is actually one of us.
he's
He
just some
agrees that
dude
Star
like
Wars is
us
shit.
who has more of an idea and like, hey, I can make this happen.
Yes,
I would love it.
exactly. I mean,
That'd be
he's worked
awesome.
with William Shatner before.
Awesome.
But I mean, he is a great guy. And I was on one of his streams one time, and he just threw out the link in the chat and said, "Hey, who's brave enough to come on?" I was like, "Fuck it." So I did it, and he brought me on. I was like, "Well, holy shit! I did not expect that." And we
Yeah,
talked, and it was a great time.
that beginning introduction is obviously that's the icebreaker. I
Yeah.
was fortunate enough that when I was in high school, well, in junior high, we had a television class
Seriously.
and for eighth graders. So you actually you could work the camera, or you could be the director, or you could be the on-camera talent.
Yeah.
But everybody had to do a project every year, so you had to do everything. So you knew what you liked to do, and having the TV background. And then when I went to high school, my high school actually had a radio station, so we got to do FM radio. So you could play music, or you could have a news show, or you could do pop culture show, or
Yeah.
I actually did play-by-play for sports, which was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And when you do stuff like that, a camera's a joke. It's talking on the microphone. It's really talking on the microphone. You forget about what you look like. It's if you can talk and you're comfortable and your words just come out and you're not worried about it, then you're fine.
Absolutely. Real quick, let me touch on this. We played none of it for more than 5 or 6 seconds, and they still popped us. So
We did it that one part because we kind of lost track of it, but only that one time.
I do watch a lot of reactions on YouTube. So there are various production companies, various artists, various music, all that stuff. And I have to say, I have heard some consistent things, but I've seen people do all kinds of stuff, like speeding up the video, or they'll re-record the video and they won't capture the whole image. Like you only see part of the guy's face, or they'll blur it out, or they pause it all the time. And I've even heard people say repost things half a dozen times. So like we've tried 3 or 4 different things. We've tried distorting the image and changing the speed, and we still can't get it to clear. Some things just don't clear. And what I think it is during the 90s, that was when television, media, everything started changing. I can almost guarantee you, year by year, company by company, channel by channel, they had different contracts with what they would allow and the amount they would allow, the time frames, all that stuff, copyright, trademark, all that junk. In the 90s, it became a really big thing because for a long time, you weren't allowed to advertise in movies.
Nope.
Pepsi couldn't be in a movie, in a movie, or Nintendo. or whatever it was. So I can only imagine all kinds of stuff changing overnight within
Yeah, that
months.
started in
And then
84,
Another
85.
production comes out, and then they're like, okay, now we have to change everything again. You don't think when the Chappelle Show came out that every single company, every single network and cable company had to rewrite their rules
Mhm.
and change everything within a couple years, And
Yeah.
I can only imagine Dave Chappelle, forget Andrew Dice Clay. I cannot imagine the controversy that went. And we've seen Andrew Dice Clay, we've seen Frank Sinatra, we've seen Dean Martin, we've seen 2 Live Crew, we've seen Eddie Murphy come out with Delirious. We've
Richard
seen
Pryor.
Cheech and Chong, Richard Pryor. We've seen the most, literally, the
Sam
most
Kinison.
controversial things that our society deals with today. We have seen them all.
Yeah.
And everything within 5 years is almost laughable. It's like, I can't believe we even cared about that.
Yep. George Carlin.
The
And
George
in my
Carlin,
opinion, the greatest.
One of the most intellectual. Only have I seen Dave Chappelle deliver comedy like him, where it is so intellectually stimulating and relatable that you have to laugh.
Yeah.
Because you've experienced it 100 times.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen it, you've felt it, you've seen your friend go through it, you've seen your church go through it, you've seen it at the movie theater, you've seen it exactly as they say it.
Well, Cobra Disney wants to hear you call a football game.
I don't even think I could remember the cities they play in anymore.
No. What we want is to watch Arwen try to call a football game.
Oh.
It'd be tight in this and tight in that.
Oh, he's running down the field, y'all.
The tight end goes for a deep pass. Oh, the tight end throws to him. Oh, the tight end catches it.
Oh, they intercepted, y'all. That's great. Oh, my God, that's so good. That is so good. Oh,
And
my
he
God.
shoots a 3-pointer right through the uprights. No.
Yeah, Cobra. All in the Family, Married with Children, The Jeffersons.
I mean,
They all
okay,
dealt with
like
this
back
shit.
in the day, All in the Family was something. Well, that was something.
God.
Married with Children was it wasn't just controversial. It was, I can't believe you're putting that on television.
I can't believe anyone watched it.
Yeah.
I don't think
mean,
I've made it through a full episode. Like, I've seen bits and pieces of it, but
Are you kidding? You can't believe people watch that? I lived that damn show. Are you joking me?
I could never stand Hal. He drove me nuts.
Do you
That
know
is
the
white
chick,
trash suburbia.
Oh,
At
maybe
its
that's why I
finest.
didn't like it. My family was close enough. I didn't have to see it on TV too.
Yeah.
I was never that bad, but I didn't know people like that, but I related to Married with Children on such a different level. I can relate to Married with Children. I can't relate to the Cosby Show. I can't relate to Growing Pains or Facts of Life or Family Ties. The first show I could even compare to was Married with Children. Oh my God, they just said something I heard last week.
Yeah.
Not,
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I can't imagine like watching Different Strokes and all that. I used to watch those shows as a kid and go, dude, is this real? Like, do people actually live like this?
Yeah. Unfortunately, they do. That they do. No,
Like Malcolm in the Middle. Malcolm, that was my life. Like,
I absolutely hated that show.
But like 70s show, that was my life.
Oh,
Get your
70
shit
show?
together. I'll put my foot up your ass.
Now that
Yeah,
one
that
I
was-
did actually watch all of, and I got a kick
Yes.
out of it.
Okay, see that stuff. Married with Children. It's a more white collar, relatable story. There was nothing on television that I even came close to until Married with Children. And Married with Children was not my level,
Yeah.
but it was the close. Married with Children, and then what? Roseanne.
Oh,
Honestly,
that gave me
honestly.
stomach acid.
I mean, when you're talking about shows on television, and then those shows, the shows that they thought people wouldn't watch on television, and it's like you're talking about my life. You're talking about every single person I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why it took off, because it was
Yeah.
real.
Absolutely. I mean, oh my God, it was just so. It was weird because some of those shows back then were surreal because it was so close to what you lived in a daily life. And others were like so far fetched, you were like, that ain't how life is.
No,
We're
I
not
couldn't
the
relate to
bad
family
guys.
ties. I
No,
didn't. I
I
knew
was about to say
friends.
that. Yes. Family
I
ties.
knew
It's like,
friends that went to college. Did I know anybody that didn't have to worry about paying for college?
no.
Not even close. It was a
Every-
struggle. It was, we probably won't be able to do it. So, you know what we got to do? Get a job.
Loans is a real thing.
And kind of like Cheers. Like, he got
Yeah,
hurt
Cheers, I
and he
lived
didn't
there.
get to do what he wanted to, and he ended up in a bar in a normal job.
Yeah.
You know what I And then he was surrounded by people, normal people and rich people. Like Fraser was a psychiatrist.
Yep.
And his boss was a stuck-up white woman. Yeah, I mean,
Norm.
so that show was a little more relatable. It's
Right
just,
there. Right on the nose, buddy.
but like Malcolm in the Middle, that was really the first, like the dad and the mom, the relationship that they
I
was
couldn't
just
stand
like,
the mom.
that's my life right there,
Yeah,
man.
I could not stand the mom. The dad, I mean, shit, that's Walter.
He was kind of goofy, but like Wonder Years, again, another.
Yeah.
There was so
Suburbia.
few shows that really was real.
Yeah.
None of this shit. Yeah, Big Bang Theory's funny, but that shit's not relatable at all. I don't even
It's only
think.
relatable as far as like being nerdy.
Yes,
It's like,
and I don't
oh,
even
yeah,
think
we're
they
gonna
can
go out
relate
to the
to it
comic
that
shop and
much.
find that and pay $600 for it. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. And then be like, what did we do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
I
the
mean,
only thing I
I've
can
talked
relate
about.
to that.
I've talked about that with people too, like my collecting. I'm a
Mhm.
collector. I have to consider myself a collector,
Yeah.
but I don't. There's no way I'm going to pay $300 for a statue of something. I can't do it. When I think I can buy, say, a NeoPixel lightsaber, or I can take that money and buy 7 different Star Wars items,
No.
I'm probably not going to buy that lightsaber. I'm probably, you know what I mean? I'm not that kind of collector. I like what I like. I like to have fun. And when I got with my girl I'm with now, my fiance, she helped me realize that fun is what keeps it enjoyable. Like, I'm an adult. No, you don't want all this stuff hanging around. You don't need a wall full of stuff unless you have room. But it doesn't hurt to have a Darth Vader house key or like a BB-8 ATM card. You know what I mean?
The little
Like,
things that spark
have your
joy.
fun. Have your little things and enjoy it. And you don't have to be an adult all the time. And the funny thing is, when I started getting those little things, including my childhood and my adulthood, it started creating connections. People would see my ATM card or see my key or see my wallet and go, wow, that's cool. I like that. Or,
Yeah.
you get a new Star Wars shirt or something and people actually will say something. And that's what made me think that's how we make our connections now.
Yeah. I mean,
Advertise what you like.
Yeah, we spend so much
past the point where you
time
get
with
bored
everyone
with
trying
it.
to look the same that nobody knew how to approach anyone. And if you actually display your interests and differences, it helps people figure out who to actually initiate with.
yeah, absolutely.
And I have to admit that I'm very happy that in today's society we can do that, because and Daryl, I'm sure you can recognize this and relate to it. You could wear a jersey or a t-shirt of a team that your high school didn't like,
Yep.
and you'd get shit canned.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was
And
still the same way when I was in school.
I'll be
but
right
it's
back.
but it really is more acceptable now. Like I like Star Wars, and no, you won't get teased. And just go, oh hey, somebody might go, oh, I like Star Wars too, or Star Trek, or Matrix, or Lord of the Rings, or Legos, or race cars, or CSI TV shows. There's so much to like now, and there's so many available connections for everybody. And to me, it just seems like hate was a fad, and it is working its way out finally.
Yeah,
There's just
it's a taught habit, and eventually you realize you just don't want it, and people quit. You get tired of it.
And I'll totally give the new generation credit for that, because they almost don't understand what some of us had to go through just living normal lives. And they're like, I can't believe, like, they can't even believe that people who were gay were ridiculed. Like, how can you have a bad opinion about somebody who's showing their self-interests? And it's like, oh, you have no idea
No, that's true.
what we went through just for saying I liked Star Trek, let alone all the other things that would really matter. But being just, I mean, may anybody making somebody feel like they're less of a person just for something they like. This wasn't even a way they looked or a habit of theirs. Just like, oh, it's so stupid you read this book. And that could be the downfall of your social existence. And I just love that adults and children and everybody now can be like, oh, he likes what he likes. Whatever. It's not as big of a deal. Where before it would be somebody's mission to have everybody make fun of you for the thing you liked. And it's just, I love that the last 30 years has changed that so much. And it's like, us nerds can be normal.
Yeah.
Like I remember in high school, I was a nerd, but I was a jock, but I was a metalhead, but I was a card nerd. You kind of had to be everything not to be teased. If you were too much one or the other, you got teased.
It's almost like people have diverse interests, but are still all the same anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's a generational thing. The 50s and 60s and 70s, and people, especially the generation we grew up in, you can't make money playing video games. You want to bet?
I mean, to quote the Goonies, it's like,
I mean,
that
generation,
this is our time.
Yeah, that generation, that 70s, 80s, literally cultural changing. You thought this was what we had to do? We don't have to do that. And now, even again, 2020, you thought this is the way we had to make a living, and you thought we had to make money this old way? We don't have to do that anymore. We have new ways, and we have easier ways. And if you don't like it, you will be left behind.
Yeah.
What's
up, Cobra?
So
Not much.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. That it is. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Thanks for coming on.
So they found us again.
Yeah, it's like to your point, I mean, I grew up, I was bullied as a kid, and that didn't, I didn't go to therapy. I didn't go doing all, if someone found out you went to therapy, you were criticized. You were even bullied even more.
Yeah, it wouldn't just be the kids around you that would terrorize you for things like therapy. The parents would do it. They would make it a whole societal, basic social execution, as it were.
Oh yeah, we've all seen what is that? Ridgemont High, and the older guy gets to be in his 20s and he's still hanging out with teenagers. Ah,
Or if your parents found out you were being bullied, they just say, ignore them. Just ignore them.
Yeah, or does anybody else know you're getting bullied? You can't know that. Let them know.
Yeah. It's like you either suck it up or sock them in the puss.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, did you stand up for yourselves? Like, well, yeah. And that's why I got a black eye and a bloody nose. But, back then it was like you either had to fight or grow real thick skin. Well,
Yep.
I couldn't fight. So
Me
I had to
neither.
grow real thick skin. And that's what I did. I mean, I grew up a red-haired, freckle-faced kid in the 70s. And, yeah. I got a lot of shit. And even through high school, I got shit.
Yep.
I mean, I get that. I grew up a red-haired, freckled-faced female who liked to hang out with boys.
Yep. Absolutely. God dang. Well,
I
I'll
was
be
just a
right
short,
back.
unathletic dude. Did we lose people?
He'll be right back. He's tending to his dogs.
Oh, yeah.
But we did lose
I can relate to
Padawan.
that.
But he'll probably jump back in. His internet's dropped a couple of times.
Yeah. I hear you, Vori. Punch the bully is what I heard too, Learn to defend yourself.
Right.
course, I never knew how to fight, so I never fought back. I just avoided him.
Oh, see, I got bullied from the boys and the girls.
Yep.
My problem was that I did fight back, and my mom kept getting called to the school.
Oh, man.
Oh, see, I would try to use the words to get out of fights, but in the particular school that I went to, they couldn't understand that many syllables.
I never got beat up. I got pestered and stuff like that, but I never got really truly beat up. But it's just, there's things, someone put me in the mud, but it wasn't, I didn't get, any black eyes or anything. But, Green Lantern, you're a homeschooler. I do remember one time I got into a high school fight with this one kid, and I tried doing the Karate Kid moves, and that was an epic fail.
Best friends always seem to give the most damage than the enemies. Like, you wind up in more fights with your homeboys than you do the other guy. Sorry, I can't highlight any of the comments I'm replying to. I can't work any of the stuff.
No, I'm just reading them right now, but that's funny. Yeah, if I was in a fight with my best friend, well, we never got in. It was never any physical fights, but it was like more like verbal fights, and we wouldn't see each other for like maybe a week or so, and then after it's all done, we just okay, we're buddies again, and that's what you did back then.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I mean, my best friend would just fight all the time. And I mean, we wouldn't fight all the time, but when we did fight, it was just like, man, we'd have knockdown dragouts. But then after we cooled off, we'd come back together and say, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?"
A Leo and a Cancer. You know something about that situation, don't you?
Oh, for fuck's sakes! God, yes, I do.
See, I got lucky on that front. I'm a Taurus. We don't particularly quarrel with a particular side.
No, that's why I like
Everybody's fair game.
All right, Padawanabi's battery died.
Oh.
So
I like in Cobra Kai when Johnny Lawrence was hearing about cyberbullying and he goes, "Oh my God, what a bunch of pussies. If you want to do someone, you do it to their face. It was honor and respect."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It actually was.
It was, yeah. I mean, if they picked on you, it's okay. They see something in you.
Yeah, if somebody picks on you, they're usually intimidated by something.
Yeah. What's up, buddy?
I guess I must have missed the next stream, or I didn't need a link for that one. I was like, oh, it's the old one. Maybe
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, because I put the link to this one in the private chat of the old one.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, well, they get a chance to talk now.
Cricket chirp. So,
But yeah,
What I miss? Come on, somebody had to have some good stuff.
we're talking astrological signs now.
Oh, I'm an Aries with a Pisces attributes. I guess that would be.
Well, I'm a Cancer with a Leo wife.
A Leo wife.
Yeah.
I am a Taurus with a
Why did
Leo
they-
mother, Leo husband,
Yeah.
Cancer sister.
Uh-huh.
No, I never really did the math. I'd have to figure out what my wife is. She is July 12th. So what is that?
Cancer.
I don't know what that
Is it
means.
Cancer,
I mean,
or does that go
uh-huh.
into
I know
June-
what it is.
June 22nd to July 22nd is Cancer.
27? Oh,
I'm
so
in-
she's a cusp then.
Yeah.
I'm in
My birthday
Aries,
is
so
July
I don't
22nd.
know if that makes us compatible or not. Or...
Aries are actually just below Virgos and Libras in being very open-minded and able to get along with most people.
Yeah, see, I've read some of the stuff about what cancers are supposed to be like, and they're like, oh, cancers are this, cancers are that. And they're like, no, I'm not.
Cancers are typically just highly emotional,
Yeah. And it's,
occasionally overreactive because they put sentiment into a lot of stuff that other
How
people
dare
might not
you.
understand.
And then you gotta remember, it's to me the horoscope thing, the sign. That's your
Okay.
natural tendency, but your environment will totally give you a different.
Oh,
yeah.
definitely.
I mean,
Oh,
I'm an
yeah.
empath. I got that. You know, I got no problem with that. But I was born on the cusp of being a Leo. I was born at 9:30 at night on July 22nd.
So you were right on the edge. So that's why I say I'm an Aries with Pisces
You know.
tendencies, because I'm like the second day of Aries or the third day. So like when I look at myself, I have all the characteristics that an Aries is normally have. But then when you look at Pisces, and it's like, oh, well, that makes sense why I like to draw and I love music and I love to create things, because Pisces have more of a creative imagination, and where Aries are more like, this is what I'm doing, this is how you do it, the rules and all that junk.
Yeah.
But I mean, it makes sense, but you can't. It's like, well, that's your framework, but then you have your life to go off of. What am I missing?
That's awesome.
I gotta get on my other thing over here.
I'm gonna go ahead and head out, Daryl. I'm gonna go ahead and pop out, and
Okay.
so
Well, thanks for hopping in, brother.
yeah,
Take
no
a look,
problem.
yeah.
It was fun. Yeah, no, just wanted to pop in for a minute, say hi, and
Hell yeah, dude.
see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Anytime you want to pop in, brother, let me know.
All right.
Take care, buddy. Yeah.
You sound like you're doing pretty good, Daryl. There, gotta be
well,
late for you.
I'm just me. That's all I am. I'm just me, and people seem to enjoy that. I don't know why, but they do.
It's only 2 a.m. The liquor will keep him awake well enough for about another hour. He'll be fine.
Oh yeah.
If the bars are open, I'm still there.
See, I work at a place that has a bar, and the kitchen staff can't leave till the bar closes, so I'm typically up this late.
That's not good. See, where do you work? I need to go there because all my kitchens close like 2 hours before the bar shuts down.
Sadly, I work at a country club, so unless you live there as a member, you can't get in.
Oh yeah.
She works at a country club. Hey, lovey. Not like a, hey, y'all want to go to the country club?
They do sound like that, but
That's quite a bit difference in the color of your collar there.
Y'all want to go down to the country club and see the chick with the big hooters? Oh my gosh.
now if I worked at one of those country clubs, I'm sure I'd make a lot more money.
At one club, you ride the golf carts. At the other club, you ride the mechanical bull.
They ride the golf carts, but they sound like the mechanical bull.
I hate to say this, but I'll have to admit, the mechanical bull does separate the generations. Young people do not know how to ride a mechanical bull. I've seen lots of frontal facial injuries on the mechanical bull.
Yeah, you want to know what it's like to ride a mechanical.
No.
You want to know what it's like to ride a mechanical bull in the 80s? Watch Urban Cowboy.
Oh, we had plenty of that down here without the mechanical part. All the FFA kids thinking they can get ballsy.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I can ride that bull. Hold my bear. No, don't you mean you're near beer because you're 16?
Oh, man.
Oh, dude, the mechanical ones were fun. God, they were so much fun. Especially when somebody was controlling it.
It's all in your hips. It's all in your hips.
It's okay. Just put it in the mouth guard and give it a shot. What's the worst that can happen?
Mouth guard and a face mask. Jesus.
Oh, bunch of pussies, man. No, you just want a
Hey.
freaking ball
Dental
cap.
work is expensive, okay? Got to protect that crap.
Well, yeah, but back then your parents paid for it, so it's all good.
Oh, your parents paid cash and you paid skin out your ass.
Mm.
Yeah, well, sometimes
You know
it
how
was worth
much
it.
that retainer cost, boy? No.
Heaven forbid you lose your glasses or something. Oh.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know how much this prescription cost me?
Sure, back.
You're like, sorry, I'm just in 3rd grade. I don't know any better.
No, I don't know how much it costs. In fact, how much is $1, Mother?
What's a retainer? I think it's so funny now that you see a lot of the 80s and 90s movies that come out and they're talking about braces and retainers and headgear and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, I remember that. I remember when my friends had to deal with some of that stuff. See, the new generation will not understand what it's like to have to go to school with a brace on you for your teeth that looks like you have scoliosis. You won't understand that ridicule in today's generation.
We're already getting up to kids who don't know what a VHS is. I'd had a kid that I was training before, and I said a VHS tape, and he's like, a what? Yeah. Like, the actual videotape, before DVDs. What do you mean before
film.
DVD? Oh, honey.
Not digital. Do you know how they recorded stuff before digital? It didn't go from cave carvings to digital.
It's not too shocking, though. I had an 18-year-old girl who never mopped before. Didn't know how one worked. Had to teach an 18-year-old to use a mop and a bucket.
Now, some stuff I can understand. And it's funny, though. I had to teach people that just because the floor is wet doesn't mean it's clean.
Oh, good Lord. What do you mean?
Like they would just wipe
water.
Water all over the floor. It's like, oh, I'm done. And it's like, well, you didn't wash anything. Just because you run water over the dishes doesn't make them clean. I mean,
it's good to know these complications extend to all generations.
Oh yes, I've always kind of, it's been like a little joke, but like I've always said that it doesn't matter how old you are, you don't understand what it's like until you move out. Because you don't understand how important it is to have 4 forks or a bowl for everybody in your house. You don't understand the small things. Like you think, why do I need something that holds my toothbrush? Until you live in your own apartment and your bathroom's so disgusting, you don't want your toothbrush to touch your sink. No.
You don't know why mom gets pissed when you break a plate until you have to keep track of your own plates.
And there's just so many things. You're like, I didn't really think I'd have to spend like $1,000 on stuff that doesn't matter. And when you move out is your first, to me, that's your first real, holy shit. Life is way more than what I expected. It's not just paying the electricity bill and this and that. It's like, no, now you have to pay taxes. You have to fill your gas tank. You have to pay, not the taxes that we all owe at the end of the year, but if you want to buy $100 something, you have to spend an extra $10 for taxes. There's those kind of things. Like, if your boss has a bad day and you're in his sights, yeah, you're going to have a bad day too.
Yep.
Just those normal life things that you can't understand until you experience them,
Yeah, and sometimes the experience just leaves a bad taste in your mouth and your
sour taste in your mouth. I've gone through that these last couple of years with my jobs.
Take care, brother.
Just being tired of being a good worker and not getting that credibility, like just your manager going, you'll do what I tell you to do because I'm your manager and you're the guy under me. And it doesn't matter how good you are or how understanding or how many compliments you get. It's, I'm your boss. You'll do what I tell you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of thing. And it's only cool until it's like, I understand what you're saying, but don't tell me that and not tell everybody else that. You can't be selective with your words anymore. You can't man or woman, age, all that stuff, you know, and I
Yeah, I
just got to
can.
the point. I got a really good job. I was really happy. I kind of lucked out, and I got a job that I really thought I'd be happy with.
Yeah.
And within a month, all month was, you're doing great. You're really good. I think you'll fit in great in our company, and you work well with everybody, and you talk really well with the customers. And then I walk in one day, and it's just like, well, I'm gonna let you go. And it was like,
Wow.
okay. So the last couple of months, I really just kind of reality checked myself and was like, you know what? I can make money on my own. There's other ways to do it. It's the traditional way is not the same way anymore.
No.
And if you guys can't handle my level, I'm not going to be drugged down by your incompetence. I have a level, and I was only unhappy because you made me work at a level I wasn't happy with.
I definitely get
so-
that. There's been a couple places that I've worked before that their standards were just not even
what you
the bare
thought they would
minimum.
be for
And
businesses.
exactly. And
Yeah.
they got mad at me because I wasn't willing to cheat the rules and lower my standards. I'm like, no, this is my work. I'm taking pride in it. I don't give a crap about what you say. This is the right way. I'm sorry if you got a problem with that.
Yeah, I got told because I did so much and I was very willing to learn other sections and stuff, and then they kept putting me in, like, I'd end up being the cart guy. And it's like, I'm a salesman. I know this store. I actually go out of my way to inform myself so I can help my customers. Like,
Yeah.
I want you to tell me to go talk to the customers, please. And they would do everything they could to keep me away from the customers. And I didn't get it. It's like, I want to help you I want you to have good customer experience. And that is not what a lot of companies are about.
No.
And doing what I'm doing now, the customers value what I'm doing. And
Take our time.
if I'm not making the extra money, I talk to customers every day and I get that verbal validation. And I have a pride in what I've been doing, but it's very different environment. You don't have to work for a boss anymore, and you can easily make a comfortable living. And it's just a different mentality. And it's not even this YouTube stuff. Like, there's so many ways to really make money. It's insane. I never really thought I'd be an independent contractor. Independent contractor was somebody who did demolition or an architect.
Yeah.
Independent contractor wasn't Grubhub. You know what I mean? I mean, Uber
Absolutely.
and that stuff. You can literally make a living just because people don't want to drive themselves around to do stuff or get stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
And that is insane to me. That is just a totally different level. But I will seize that opportunity. Boomer.
Absolutely.
But I
Absolutely.
love that generation is coming. And as somebody from the 70s and 80s who kind of looked at a lot of people and was like, man, you need to change the way you think, because the way you're thinking just doesn't make sense anymore. Like, growing up around domestic violence, it doesn't really make sense. And as you get older, you're like, wow, I didn't realize that it was so little. Like, I thought honestly, I thought a lot of people had more experience with this stuff than I did. And I didn't have a bad childhood, but I saw my parents get into it like nobody's business, and to feel like that is a rarity is kind of strange to me, because I feel like that's normal stuff. And maybe that's why I relate to the grotesque things like Married with Children and those things that other people go, God, I can't believe that was. It was like, that was Tuesday. What are you talking about?
No
Like,
shit.
I mean,
No shit.
You never
Forget-
know certain things are
forget-
strange until you start
Yeah.
talking and other people are confused by it. And you're like, but this is normal. What do you mean?
but
Yeah,
it
it happened a lot more than people said it did because they didn't want to admit it.
Forget
You
dad
weren't allowed
flipping
to
out
back then.
and being the mean dad and getting mad and screeching in the tires. But imagine your mom flipping out and screaming at everybody and slamming doors. Mrs. Huxtable didn't do that shit on Cosby
Yeah.
Show.
My stepmother
You know.
did that shit with me. Holy God, she flipped
But-
shit.
And as it
Whew.
as from 70s and 80s, that didn't seem like, oh, I was alone in this. Like it seemed normal. Not horrible beatings, but spanking the kids, things like that. There was a certain level of physical contact that was totally acceptable. And, spanking and the things, getting your mouth washed out with soap or getting slapped across your mouth because you said a swear word.
Mhm.
And now lawsuits happen. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I mean, people just don't understand what it means to be put in check. Like
Yeah.
sometimes you just need to be like, what the fuck are you saying? Did you just say that to me? You
Mhm.
know, I mean,
Absolutely, dude. I mean, I honestly believe that if more people got popped in the puss for the shit they said, we would have a lot better place to live.
and this is kind of I don't know, is it Akemi?
Akemi?
And this would be something that there's going to be a immediate difference. Like men, and I've heard this come up past 10, 20 years in comedy skits as well. But men can react and act a way with themselves that women would almost find appalling. Like there's a line when any man, whether you know him or not, you say something so offensive, you literally can't expect to be punched in the face. And I'm not, and it's kind of an acceptable thing.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Yeah,
she's had experience with stuff like that. So
Women don't really have that. Yes, there's slaps and there's women fights and things like that, but you as a woman can say anything you want to me, and I'm really not allowed to do anything. If me and Daryl got into it and one of us threw a punch, nobody would think
Yeah, they
anything
just shrug
of
it off.
Yes. But if you threw a punch at me, it'd be a big deal. But if I threw a punch at you, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
You know,
Which I
there's
think is a terrible fucking double standard.
yeah,
Like sometimes
what's the bit like? I watch a comedian named Bill Burr, and he has a lot of really good aspects on this, and it's funny because he's like, oh, women can do all kinds of stuff. They can key your car, sign their name, they'll break all your shit in front of you, and what do? You can just stand there. You can't get mad at them. You can't yell. You sure as hell can't fight back. And it's like, oh, well, if I was doing that, I'd have a cop with his knee in my back, but evidently you have a vagina, so it's okay. So
pretty much.
yeah, and he makes. I've seen him before, and he makes some damn good points on it.
I like him. I like the Bill Burr and Dave Chappelle and Tom Segura. I think are probably my relatable comedians these days, because they talk about stuff that happens. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen to other people in my presence. And Daryl, you get it. We're white guys. We've kind of rode the curve down. Like we were born and our curve went this way, and then our curve's going this way.
Yeah, mine. I was born, and then it's been a downhill slide ever since.
Now, I mean,
Because
it
as
really
far as
feels
race
weird.
relations go and being treated by other ethnic groups and stuff like that, that's the way it's been.
I always
everybody's
felt-
like, white people are the dominant. No, we haven't been. I live
I
in
always
Texas.
felt
We are
good.
outnumbered by Mexicans 10-1.
Yeah. I always felt good being a white man and being like, well, I think I kind of know what's going on and I'm responsible. I try to work hard and stuff like that. And it's like now, as a white man, I don't feel there's enough I can do to get credit.
Yeah.
And I feel it. That's what's weird. Is I don't do anything. I walk out the door and I feel like I'm at a disadvantage for some reason.
Yeah.
And that is
We're the most
weird.
hated.
And I used to be proud
and race on the planet.
I used to be proud that I was a nice, congenial, well articulated, semi-educated white male. You know, it's like I don't talk like an idiot. I'm proud of the work I do. I'm proud of who I'm involved with. And I almost feel like everything I can be proud of can just be shit on now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't matter how I'm treated. I'm not going to change my standards of treating people. I'm going to keep treating them with respect and still be the chivalrous guy I am. I can't change that. That's how I'm wired. You know, it doesn't matter what people say to me or how they treat me. That's not going to change who I am. I am me. And if they don't like it, they can go fuck themselves.
I'd say the only thing that disappointed me in my lifetime is how I've noticed police treat whites compared to other ethnicities. Because I am a white man and I've been with white people and with not white people, and it's a very different situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That is,
you know, and how
double standard extends beyond gender.
How easily you can be grouped in there, and like I've been to rap concerts with black friends and been pulled up on just because we were sitting in the car waiting for the concert to start. And I've gone to heavy metal concerts and had the same problem with white friends. And me and my buddies used to go frisbee golfing super early in the morning, like at 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning. And we'd have cops following us through towns because my buddy and his wife used to get tattoos all over.
Mm-hmm.
Not like full body, but enough, you know. So he'd have tattoos on his arm, so the cops would start following us. And the first thing they'd ask us, they'd follow us all the way through the little town, pull us over. When we get into the parking lot where we're going, and the first thing they ask us is if we're on parole. And me, I have no tattoos or anything like that. That's weird shit to me. Yeah. And my buddy's like, oh, yeah, I get that all the time because I have tattoos. And he has no record, no problems with police ever, but just because he has tattoos. And it was literally 7:30 in the morning, and we're driving through a town that has like 2,000 population, just a small little town to go play frisbee golf.
Yep.
And they're just looking for some shit to stir up.
He literally follows us through the whole 3 or 4 miles of the town until we get to the park. And we park in the parking lot. And that's when he lights us up.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't believe this. I don't believe how people treat people.
Yeah.
And as soon as the first thing he asks about parole, and then he tells me I'm not allowed to have stuff hanging from my rearview mirror, and I had a Star Wars deodorizer square hanging from it. So I ripped it off and threw it in my back seat. I was like, well, that's not on my mirror now. But it's just so mad, you know, they'll give you shit for that, and then you could ask them, why do they sell them? I don't know. Aren't you the police? Aren't you the one that reinforces that law, but you don't know?
Yeah, it's like if we can't hang things from our rearview mirror, why do they sell us things to hang from our rearview mirror?
Exactly.
And I can tell you that's not one of the things they cover in driver's ed.
No,
exactly. I used to get.
They barely cover anything in driver's ed anymore.
Not really. No.
Okay, if you're a white person, you don't hit anybody else but white people. You can hit white people; it's okay.
It's fine. They just get up and shake your hand and walk away.
Yeah. Or there's oh, hey, it's okay, but there, bud.
So
I mean, it's so fucking retarded. So fucking retarded. Oh,
I agree.
somebody else popped into the chat.
Oh, we have chatters.
Who's here?
Oh, I didn't.
Viralinus is one.
Oh, that dude is always up super
Who's the
late.
other one? Is it? Did Six come back? No, but he's got a story though. When I was 17, a couple of friends and myself went on a road trip to West Virginia to see the City of Lights or whatever it's called. We were pulled over and told to leave the city. We hadn't done anything. Yep.
Depending on what year this was, I'm almost betting that was around when they were doing the cruising thing. They were like, nope, if I see you more than 2 or 3 times on my street, I'm going to pull you over.
Yep. We had a cruising ban here in the late 80s. Nope. He said it was 97.
Well, yeah, that would be about, for me in California, I graduated in 94. So those late 90s were that, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, and
Easy.
all that.
Yeah.
It was just that was when everything was just exploding.
Yep.
Movies, music,
Malls,
media,
yeah.
news, people swearing,
Ice-T coming out with the song Cop Killers.
everything.
Yep.
I mean, wasn't that even when like Snoop Dogg was they tried to convict him of murder?
Mhm.
187 is the number that they gave me.
Mhm. The LA riots in 92.
All that stuff, man.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even believe that. If you think about it, can you believe if 2 Live Crew loses their lawsuit in music, what would have happened?
Well, they did lose to Lucasfilm.
No,
They couldn't
2
use
Live,
Luke Skywalker.
2
anymore.
Live Crew.
Yeah, Luke
rappers.
Skywalker. It was Luke Skywalker on the
Well,
2
no.
Live Crew.
But I mean, like they were saying that all the people were coming out. You can't swear in your albums and you can't say
Oh,
you
yeah.
do that to women. And that was literally the time. It wasn't just profanity on albums, but they were saying, you say you beat women, which they weren't saying they did.
No,
But all
they
that,
didn't at all. They were doing the
they were
complete opposite.
sexualizing them for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
But they were saying you can't do that. So if the government wins their case against 2 Live Crew, so okay, what do the next 10 years look like? Will Smith and MC Hammer and Reba McEntire?
No, no, it'd be more like
So
Catholic Nun
Kiss.
School.
So even a band like Kiss, who had sexually explicit lyrics, is gone.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about Eminem. Forget about
Mhm.
Dr. Dre. Gangsta rap's gone.
Yeah. It
All
would never
rap.
started.
All rap is gone. Heavy metal's gone. We
Mm.
get no band named Godsmack. Metallica disappears.
All rock disappears.
No parody music anymore.
Nope.
All of a
Weird
sudden,
Al's gone.
in 1990, the number one music becomes religious music, and that's all we're ever allowed to listen to
Yep.
again. If 2 Live Crew loses their lawsuit against freedom of speech,
Mm-hmm.
music over the next 20 years, we probably wouldn't even have YouTube. There would not
No.
be that freedom of press and freedom of creativity
Nope.
and all that stuff. They're like, no, you can't say that. Nope. You can't say fuck or shit or you can't even say prostitute on an album. You know what I mean? It could have went insane. It really could. I mean, the nastiest stuff we could have on the radio could have been in sync.
Bye, bye, bye.
But I mean,
Oh.
and we're only knowing the ones that made the real newsreels. But like I was saying, like Kiss, very marginal, not satanic, not
No.
super commercial, not offensive, not
Nope.
degradational, not anything like that.
They
But a
was
band
all
like
about the
that,
pussy.
who just had suggestive lyrics. You know,
Mhm.
that's almost like oh, that's what she said. Like, really, you gonna go to jail for saying that?
Mhm.
You know, and
Yeah.
that really could have been what we were living. I don't know how that would have gone. I don't
Yeah.
hope
Well,
like Quentin Tarantino can't make movies.
yeah. Well, I thought about that a long time ago. It's like, okay, well, if you bitch about all these rock songs saying all this stuff that just kind of generically saying it, not even really pointing it out. You got all these country songs that says, "Well, I'm crying in my beer because I lost my woman or I cheated on my woman." It's like, and you call that good shit?
Or
What
totally
the fuck,
blatantly
dude?
racist. You
Yeah,
know, I mean,
yeah. David Allen Coe, seriously, country artist. What the fuck?
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's, I mean, even growing up and not thinking anything of it, but Looney Tunes. Like
yeah,
growing up as a kid, I thought it was always funny hearing Yosemite Sam, "Wurger, wurger, wurger." But as I got older and I was like, holy shit, really? If I say cotton picking too loud, I never thought of that.
yeah,
And I'll totally, lean into my ignorance being white, and I get it and all that stuff. But even things that you have no history with and knowing. And it's like,
yeah.
oh, I can't even say something trying to be funny from my youth
Well, the thing about
without,
it is, they associated cotton picking with slavery.
no, yes,
Slaves weren't the only
yes.
ones who did that shit. My grandparents, my great grandparents cotton picked till they died.
Yeah, that's where the actual term of redneck comes from.
Yes, from being sunburnt because you're bent over forward all day.
Yeah, working in the fields. You a freaking working class man or woman if you were a redneck. Now it means you're a fucking idiot.
There's a reason why it's called white collar jobs. You don't really work.
Yeah.
You keep clean.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with saying
Oh.
it.
There's nothing wrong with saying anything.
It's just the stance people can take
It's like,
against
somebody,
what you say.
yeah, it's like, okay, if you take offense to what I said, that's your problem, not mine.
Because I
If
mean,
I'm
what did
not being
Yosemite
offensive
Sam used to
directly,
say? Oh, he'd be like, he's a razor-fracking, cotton-picking, two-bit varmint, and now you're racist. You
yeah,
know.
I
So
tell,
yeah,
just like, suck a peen, dude. If I'm not being directly offensive to your face, I'm not being offensive. If you take it as that, that's your problem. That means you're racist, not me.
That is one of the mostly nicer things about my particular generation. If we want to offend you, you don't have to read into anything we're trying to say. We'll let you know. We'll let you know that we're
Absolutely.
trying to offend you.
Absolutely.
and Daryl might know it also. Like I'm from that generation. It's like I don't beat around the bush. If I don't like you, I'll fucking tell you I don't
Yeah.
like you.
If I got a problem with you, dude, I'm gonna tell you
Not
to
trying
your
to be
face.
mean. I'm not. It might come across not congenial, but I'm being as blatantly honest as I can be.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm trying to insult you. It's like, nope, I'm just drawing the line here, and I'll say this as forcefully as I can. I'm sorry it hurt your feelings. And
Yeah.
now we actually get penalized for hurting somebody's feelings.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, nobody cared
Fucking suck
before.
my dick, dude.
Nobody
I don't
cared.
give a fuck about your feelings. If you got a problem with me, come to me personally. Don't
And
blast
that,
it out over the
and if
internet.
not,
Don't blast it out in
then that's,
public. Come
to
to
me,
me.
that was part of life. If you have hurt feelings, you have to learn to deal
Yes.
with anything.
Absolutely. You
if
got
you
to
get a
learn
B,
how to figure it out.
if you get a B plus on a paper instead of an A, fucking deal with it, dude. Don't go
Yes.
to your goddamn teacher and complain and bitch and
Yeah.
drop out of your school because you didn't get an A.
Yeah.
The shit
But
happens.
I mean,
You know.
6, the history phrase of cotton picking, it was a
No, he says
derogatory.
didn't understand. He does now.
I know. Well, that's what I said. Booby
For
traps.
us in the last 100 years, cotton picking did not have derogatory term. It was just one
It
of
was
those
just
things
a lower job.
that until you know the history, it is a meaningless phrase.
My
Until
great
you know
grandfather
the
was
history
he
behind it.
worked in a cotton gin till he was 108 years old and died
Because
working in a cotton gin.
to be honest, any old phrase from, I mean, what? They even say 49er is a bad term now. Because it depicts somebody who believed the things that people believed in the era.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, I can't be a 49er because I might have believed something. You know, it just, some of the stuff's just, they're not letting things go. Not everything
Oh my.
needs to have somebody that's responsible.
Kimmy, you might want to chime in on this one.
Larger
But if we want to
quad
keep it a little
muscles?
more
Larger
family
quad
appropriate.
muscles?
Yes, 6 is a she.
Oh, my bad.
No, it's okay. She's cool.
No, I just use he as a general term all the time. Probably because I spend all of my time with the boys in the kitchen.
I think that's
one
something
of
that
his
us
ones,
older people, I think we accept dude as an asexual term.
and guys.
And guys, and
Everyone
everyone.
is guys.
What's up, guys?
Yep.
I don't
had-
mean anything by it. I do kind of feel bad but to be honest, when I was in my 20s and as a teenager, if I walked into the room and there was ladies, I'd be like, hello, ladies. There was a point to make when it came to the ladies. They were not guys. It was like, hey, guys, what's up? How you
Dude.
doing?
When I was 8
The
years
Ladies
old,
are a different class of ladies. You know.
dude, when I was 8 years old, I would go see my mom at the beauty shop while she was getting her hair done. I'd walk in the door and say, hello, ladies. I'm freaking 8 years old trying to be a pimp.
Being that ladies' man, being the what they call that, the something gentleman, God, I can't remember what it was called.
I was trying to be suave and debonair.
Well, like the women back in the day always had that one man that was super sleek and gentlemanly and always dressed to the nines and always treated them fine, you know.
Yeah, I do know, but I got him. I can't think.
I
Of the
can't
term.
get. I don't remember that term.
Yeah, I've had a client before. It was a table of men and women, and I said guys, and he got so offended. The entire time they were there, he kept lecturing me on the word folks, how I was being improper.
You said folks, and I instantly thought when you said what you said before, and I was like, well, folks makes me think that everybody's old. Like when I say folks, it's
Me,
a
Mom, Papa.
mature crowd. Like
Yeah.
I would use folks for people older than me.
Yep.
I am
Absolutely.
not from the South, but I've found that I need to introduce y'all into my vernacular because it makes sense in a lot of times when I need
That
to,
definitely plays into it.
you know, and you all sound stupid. I watched Rush Hour. It's not you all, it's y'all. Not y'all. Y'all.
It's y'all.
It's not just y'all, it's all y'all.
Mm-hmm.
All y'all. Whoa.
Mm-hmm. All
God.
y'all too. Well, 6 says, I don't mind guys as an all-inclusive term. I don't mind if someone calls me a he. It's a safe bet in this community that most people are men.
No, the people who mind the term guys are the same. Like if I walked into a room and said, hello, ladies, they would be offended by that.
And I'm like,
know?
okay, do you have a penis?
I
Are you
just,
swinging? Are you
you
packing?
know, it's like, how
And then-
dare you get affectionate with people you don't know? How dare you use a term of endearment? It'd be
Oh,
like,
I don't
I'm
think
waiting for somebody to flip
damn
out on the
affectionate.
cashier for calling him hun. I'm
Like,
sorry, hun.
oh.
Yeah, I've had people straight up making eye contact with me, call me sir, and I'm like, meh. Like, it's all the same thing. You're still just talking to a person and being polite.
Yeah.
Guys, gals,
It's
sir,
like you try and
man,
hold the door
whatever.
open for somebody and they get pissed off and just kind of stand there and then,
Well-
or you hold the door open for somebody and they walk in and don't acknowledge you at all. Then you
That-
just close the door behind them and go, "You're welcome."
Daryl, that was one of the hardest things. Growing up, I always learned, open the door, pull the chair out, be nice. Even for other guys. If you can do it, be nice, be accommodating. But I'll tell you what, in college, I learned that holding the door open was probably one of the biggest mistakes you can do. Because you try to be
Yeah,
nice
that's
for
in my
those first
program.
couple people,
And then
but
you
then
never
literally
get in.
50 more people will go through the door and you never get in the door. So I would open the door, and every time I walked through the door first, women had to say some shit behind my back. Like I would walk the door and they would have to say, "Oh, I thought men opened the door for women."
Well, you know what?
And now,
Women
10
want
years later,
equality.
we're getting the opposite shit.
Yeah.
You know what I
Women
mean?
want equality until it's time to be equal.
No, what's that?
Think about
I
it.
know that same
They want
comedian,
equality
Bill
this,
Burr.
equality that. All right, you fucking lift this fucking
Yep.
rock and put it in the bucket.
That same
You lift
comedian,
this
Bill
bed and
Burr,
put
has
it
got a
back in the
bit.
truck.
He's like, women
You dig this fucking hole
say
and
they
fix the
want,
water leak.
yeah, they say they want equality, but they don't really. They want to just pick and choose. And I'm not trying to offend our present company here, but a lot of women are like, oh, yeah, same amount an hour. I'll take that. Oh, pay for the movie? You can keep that. I don't like that. You know?
No, you definitely won't offend me on that. There's a very particular reason. I do spend more of my time around most
Same
males
here.
than females.
Same.
Like,
See, and that's funny. In my life, I've spent
And
more
I will.
time around females than males because I thought I understand the point that women make. A lot of guys are assholes. It's like I agree with that.
Oh yeah, especially the guys that wear fucking designer jeans. What the fuck is wrong with you? Give me your man card.
you
Okay.
can't sit down on that bullshit.
Jogs.
Got rhinestones in your ass.
Bring
Nah.
over your ass. Fuck you,
As a
dude.
man, if sports or fashion is the most important thing in your life, that's yeah.
Sakes. I love you, dude. I expect men to hold the door to open the door for me. I'd open the door for you, then close it in your face. Just
I
to
think
fuck with
I
you.
think it's funny when you get the people there. They're like, I don't need you to open the door for me. You're like, okay, fuck you. You know.
And I've had it work
Exactly
the other
right.
way too. I had this one guy get
That's a good
so damn offended because I got there first and I opened the door for him, and he gave me like a 3-minute lecture on how a man needs to open the door, and since I'm a lady, I should just stand there and wait for a man to come along and open it for
See,
me.
if I saw a woman make an effort to go pull the door open, I'd be like, oh, she's trying to hold the door open for me. That's nice.
That's
courteous.
equality.
And,
It's
and most
courteous.
people these days, like
Incarnate
they'll just
right there.
somebody holds the door, they walk through. They may nod or they may just keep walking.
Yeah.
But either way, like you just go about your day.
For the most part, when you hold the door open for somebody, they will say thank you.
Yeah.
You know, you don't hear anymore. You're welcome.
Oh, I was going to say something way different.
You don't hear. You hear. Of course, no problem. Don't mention it. Oh, glad to do it. Nobody will say you're welcome.
I do.
Well,
I'm one of the
You're-
railroads, though.
you're that
Forever.
generation. You are the generation that I'm talking about. I think
And I definitely can't argue that because I do the same thing. I respond with no problem.
Well, see,
See, and
sometimes it's just like
I'm
if
gonna
it's a
start
casual
working
thing.
it in. I'm gonna start saying, "You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it."
Oh
But
yeah.
actually put those words in there, not just like, "I don't have a problem." It's like saying thank you back.
Yeah.
You
And I've
know,
done that, and like a Kimmy, I've said, "Hey, no problem, man. Anytime,
Yep.
happy to do it."
And yes, that's what most people say. And I'm gonna start working in your welcome because people are
Yeah,
scared of it now. And I'll be like,
yeah,
yes, you're welcome. I have no problem. But
yeah.
to try and, actually get those words, because it just seems like people are scared of words now. Really? I
Mhm.
I can't even put 5 capitals in a text message and you think I'm yelling? It's like, no, I'm inflecting. You can't, how else? I can't make my text any smaller.
Veronis. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Veronis.
No, I'm reading it too. I can see it up
You
there.
fucker. Oh man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a force of habit to be polite. Most people are wired to be polite. They just fight it to be a dick.
Or because you think somebody's going to think something about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, am I going to
People
offend
act
this
a
person
certain
and piss
way
them off with
until
saying it?
they think somebody's thinking something or gonna, well, what do they think what are they going to think about me if I do that? It's like,
I don't
who
give a
cares?
fuck what people think about me. I just do it. I'm just me.
Yeah, I've had more than a few confused stares because, again, I'm a lady who holds the door open, but
She's had
I
the door
also
open for
have
me
more
before, and it's
of
like, hey,
the
that's fine.
gothic aesthetic. So I've had older people give me like the side eye and then be shocked when I do the basic human decency and be polite.
Mm-hmm.
I
Like, oh,
find it,
she's one of them goth people, or
I find it
one of them
very
people that
weird.
like to cut themselves.
I find
Listen
it
to that
very
heavy
weird these
metal.
days when I feel like I was saying, I do grocery delivery. But when I I've done customer service my whole life, like delivery and sales and stuff. So I'll put the groceries down and then I'll talk to the customer sometimes. I feel weird when I'm like, can I hand you your groceries?
Yeah, that's something that really pisses me off. It's like I've got
That's
to ask
I
your
shouldn't
permission to do
feel
something
weird.
kind for you. Fuck
Yes,
off.
I shouldn't feel weird doing something just because I feel like I want to be nice to another human. Like, can I
Yeah,
hand this to you? Or can I stand next to you? Do you mind if I ask you a question?
yeah,
That is so weird.
yeah. I shit you not, a few months ago, I was at the gas station. I was walking in. Some lady got out of her car, was coming up to the door. I pulled the door open, held it open. She just stood there and looked at me. Stopped, dead in her tracks, didn't say shit, just looked at me. I said,
That's what kills
okay.
me. The
I said,
no communication. It's like, what's wrong? Or
yeah,
you
it's
won't
like,
even say
she
anything?
looked at me like I was stupid because I was holding the door open for her. And I was like, okay. So I walked in. I pulled the door closed behind me. So she
Yeah.
had to literally open it to get herself in.
Yes.
I'm like, all right,
Don't
fine. Fuck you
don't
then.
you feel offended though for doing something nice? You're like, well, fuck you then. You
Yeah.
know? I mean,
It, it doesn't offend me. It pisses me off. But at the same time, I'm like, fine. Fuck you then. I ain't going to do nothing nice for you.
but that really, like, if I stood there and I held the door open and somebody stared at me, I would like reactionary. Really? I can't even hold the door open for you?
Oh, I didn't even do that.
I don't know if I could. It would just it would be such a weird thing, you know what I mean? I'm a vocal person. And so it'd just be like, wow, I can't even, like, I walked up to a guy in the supermarket. He's pushing his he was a guy that worked there, and he's
Yeah.
pushing his cart through the thing right next to people. And then I asked him if I could ask a question to him, and I walked up to him and he backed away from me. It's like, okay, you can walk next to somebody. But if I walk up to you, you're going to back away from me. but you literally just got closer to that person than I got to you. It
Yeah.
felt so strange.
Yep.
And it's like you work in a grocery store. I felt offended and repulsed. I was like, how can you even act that way? You work in a grocery store.
Yep.
I really felt like there was something wrong with me. You know, like I didn't feel offended, but I was like, what did I do wrong? And that was such a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
You know, like when your teacher's working on papers and a student comes up and asks, hey, I have a question about problem 4, and they're like, no, don't come up here, I'm busy, don't stay at your desk. You know, it's like, it's unencouraging. You know, it's like, gosh, I thought that's why we're here. We're supposed to talk and communicate.
You know, and real quick, to give some advice to Verolinas, you find a girl you like, you walk up to her, say, I like your ass. May I wear it as a hat?
No, no.
And
You
no,
say,
that's
here, this is a
excellent
good
advice.
ice. You say,
Because the woman who
this is a
punches
good
you in the
icebreaker.
face is the one you go with.
This is a good icebreaker. You walk up and say, what's the difference between a pair of glasses and a woman wearing a pair of glasses? And they say, I don't know. What is the difference? And you say, well, a pair of glasses fits a little higher on my face.
Have you ever had a mustache ride?
The flavor saver. No, I'll tell you what. I was in a relationship for like 12 or 13 years, all through my 20s. And I'll tell you one thing, when I became single in my 30s, I thought it was probably the best time for a man to be single, an older man to be single in the early 2000s and later. I think as a single older male, it's so easy these days to meet people and talk to people.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I've never been more embarrassed by a lot of the lines I got from women in the bars in my 30s, man.
Yeah, that was some embarrassing shit. But you got to admit, at least one time it worked.
I got Donald Trumped.
Grab him by the pussy.
I mean, as bad as men can be and all the stories you hear about men, women, it's the same. It's an atmosphere. There's certain atmospheres bring certain personalities, and if you can't take getting grabbed in the crotch and laugh about it, you don't need to be there.
I was like, man,
But you know,
grab me in the crotch, I'm gonna be like, oh, what did I do to deserve this?
I mean, it's as disgusting as I've heard women say men are. I've had a woman walk up to me in a bar and look me straight in the face and ask me, "So, you like to eat pussy?" I mean, I can't. You know, I mean,
as someone who spends most of their time, again, around men, I can tell you that any woman will give you way too much information and get way nastier in 5 minutes than any man will in a year. Even if he sees, like, if he's hanging out with just his guy friends or someone he sees as the guys, women are far, far nastier
I find
than any man I've ever met.
The guys that are that bad are assholes. The women that are that crass are normal. It's just, oh, they're having a good time, or they're in the right atmosphere, or they've had that right amount, you know? And it's like, woo, you're getting a little saucy, lady.
Hey, no, that's good for him.
Yeah, that's awesome. If you can have people approach you, that's all it is.
Oh
You just-
yeah, that's when you
you-
can throw the lines out. If they approach you, you can throw the lines out, and most of the time it'll work.
You let them approach you, but then you go for their shy friend in the background. Those are the fun ones.
Yes,
Yeah, always just talk to the group the first night.
If you're in a gaggle of girls, it will never work.
Keep your options open.
Yes,
I have
blow up doll
have-
on Amazon.
I have to say, there's always going to be, if you ever end up around or with a group of girls or hanging out with a group of girls, there's always one that throws themselves at you.
Yeah, see, you don't want the loud and eager one. She's gonna bail in 10 minutes, unless that is what you want. And then
That's
cool.
the one you want to
But-
hang out with.
Yeah.
That's the one you want to help get yourself hooked up with.
Man,
You're like, oh, you're great. I love hanging out with you. You have so much fun. We could be great friends. I need to help. Maybe you can help me find somebody. I'd be like,
it's
oh
like-
yeah, honey, I
it's
know
like-
all the good places.
oh yeah. If I were single, Akemi would be my wingman. I would have nobody else to be my wingman.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to take a
Because
dude anywhere with me.
Yeah, I mean she's badass.
Not too many guys can hang. I've met a
But-
few guys in my
I haven't
lifetime.
met
It's like
some.
there's a guy
I don't
here
want
and
to.
there, but you never meet a group of dudes that's all cool or like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's always like, well, that guy's cool, but his brother's a dick. You know?
Well, yeah, for the most part, if you find a group of guys, they're all playing pool anyway and trying to hustle somebody, and they're all
Yeah,
looking for
exactly,
getting in a
yeah.
fight before the night's over.
Yeah, they're all their own tight group. Yeah.
Yeah, wearing the freaking
Totally,
bedazzled
yeah.
blue jeans and shit. Fuck me, dude.
Oh,
see
my
that.
Well, they're
Yeah,
trying
no,
to,
no,
but you
oh.
won't let them take their jeans off.
No, bad. No.
Nobody tight rolls their
Yeah.
jeans anymore.
It's like if you don't have Wranglers on, I won't fucking talk to you when it comes to sex.
Oh my god, that's so funny. There's a time when when all I wore was Levi's and I was like Wranglers. That's a whole different concept of my
Mhm.
life. Do you even know what rock and roll is? You know.
I literally just walk into a store and go, huh, does it come in black?
See, and women can do that. Women can walk into Ross Dress for Less and pick a nondescript pair of pants off the rack. No brand name. If it looks good, they win.
I'm
Guys
sure
do that
that
crap,
women's
it's
clothes
like-
get freaking expensive. Most of my crap is men's clothes. Same
Oh.
pair of pants, men and women line. Women
Trust
gonna charge
me.
you $40, men be 15.
Trust me, I know. I bought lots of women's clothes. They get expensive.
Yep, that's why I like Wranglers. It's $20 a
The
pop.
only
that way
thing
for
that's
years.
expensive for men is tennis shoes and tailor-made t-shirts.
Oh, tailor-made T-shirts. God, I wouldn't even know how to act.
You
I
know
had
how
to buy a
good
monocle.
you know how good a t-shirt feels when it's made to fit your body?
Absolutely not.
No, I shop at Walmart.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I've only had a couple pieces of clothing that were made for my size. If I could just buy that, I would.
Yeah.
That actually, when you move and it doesn't stretch, and you can move whatever way you want and you don't feel like you're pulling your clothes,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
buying Egyptian cotton sheets.
I mean, Verolinis, I understand. My wife buys men's jeans, and I can't stand it because it does nothing for her ass.
I have a
It's
funny
like I'm looking
story.
at a man's ass. I'm like, no, you need to buy women's jeans so it cups that shit.
I have a
Because I
funny
like your
story.
ass. I want to look at it.
You mentioned that. I dated after my long relationship, I went out with a black girl for like 3 years.
Oh, honey.
and I get up. We were going out dancing one night, and I get up and I get dressed. I'm like, what is going on? These pants fit, but they don't feel right. And my girlfriend goes, don't you ever fucking tell anybody that you fit in my pants.
Oh my god, that's great.
It's like, oh my God, that's it. These aren't even mine.
Man, I can't even fit in my husband's pants. I can wear them as a garter, maybe.
Well, see, that was the
Your
difference.
husband's a twig.
White male, and black female. And we matched. I just thought that was funny. That was one of the funniest things she realized I had on her. She's like, don't you ever fucking tell anybody that you put my pants on.
And he's right about the pockets.
Oh yeah.
Chick stuff ain't got no pockets anywhere. It's because
No,
they
they're
wanted you
fake.
to buy those big ass fucking purses.
That's
The
why my-
pockets they have on them aren't even pockets. They're just sewn on material.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's why my wife buys men's jeans because they have pockets. I was like,
I
but
hate
you got
men's
no
pockets
acetone.
because they're too low. Like all the stuff in my pockets hits me like halfway down my leg when I get in my
man.
car. It's like, man, what? I can't sit in a car with anything in my pockets.
Yeah, see, I do cargo pants. I got pockets everywhere.
I can't do the cargo pants either. It's just too much weight. A wallet and keys, and if I have to carry anything else, and then you're walking along and the shit just bouncing around in your knees, it's like, oh, this feels weird. Just feels weird. I have to wear a jacket. I used to live in California though, so it was really, I didn't know what to do with my keys and wallet.
Yeah,
You wore
see,
shorts. It was uncomfortable. You didn't have a jacket. You couldn't put it anywhere.
yeah, see, down here it's way too damn hot to be having a jacket all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You
so
definitely
I just
can't carry
always do
anything
that.
in jackets.
It's gonna be freaking 80 degrees on Christmas Day.
Yeah, I lived in California like until the last 7 years or so, and I understand shorts weather. Now I live in Northwest, West Coast, Northwest, just a little higher, and to be honest, I don't ever want to wear shorts. It never gets warm enough. I see people in shorts and I'm like, you're joking, dude. You really? It's 90 degrees and you're wearing shorts because it's like a spoof. It's like a luxury, you know? And it was like in California, it was like, no, I remember having to wear shorts and it being so hot. And now I'm just so cold in the environment now. It's like, I don't remember what it's like to wear shorts.
I'm about to say, come to Texas, you'll remember.
Like the hair on my shins is all rubbed away. I feel like a teenager in high school with the patchiness of on my legs, like my face. Like it's not growing in right. I have all these weird bald spots on my legs from my pants.
Yeah, that happened to teenagers. It's happening to me now.
And what's a tan
Stop
line?
thinking,
God, I haven't had a tan line in over 5 years.
Oh, dude, I got a tan line. Farmer's tan.
Yeah, I used to get sunburn on my head, man, just from one day.
Oh,
California.
oh God. If I get
Just so
sunburn
hot.
on my head, dude, I'm just like,
It's the worst. You just more heat. Like more heat. Underneath
oh
the
yeah.
head.
Just walk around in a vegetative state for a week.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah, that's when the $2 draft sounds really good.
oh yeah. Because you go there and put that switch right there on your head. It's like, oh my God, that
Sport.
feels so fucking
Volcano
good.
hit
Keep
me.
'em coming.
Just put it right on top.
Yep. Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
Well, you see, the sun is the angry, glaring ball of scalding hate that constantly hangs over this state.
Yes.
It never leaves us.
Nope.
Scalding ball of hate.
And in the summertime, it'll come up, just lean on your shoulders, and go, "What's up, bud?"
Yup.
Yeah, I
Stay
can't believe
there.
that. That is the
100,
thing that
105 damn degrees.
yeah.
with
When I
70%
lived in,
humidity.
yeah, that humidity. God, I visited Texas once. That was enough. I was like, okay, I can't even walk from my car to a building without sweating through my clothes.
Mhm.
Why?
Uh-huh.
How is that attractive? I don't care if you have air conditioning wherever you go. If I can't walk 100 yards without sweating through my pants, come on. That's too hot.
Yes. And
You have
everybody's
to
like,
change.
oh, New
You're like,
Mexico and Arizona get way hotter because it's a desert. And I'm like, yeah, but that's a dry heat, buddy. It
yeah,
could be 120 there, and it could be 105 here and feel way hotter here because we got the humidity to go with it.
I had family. Like I lived in Sacramento, in California. I had family that lived in Los Angeles. I had family that lived in Mesa, Arizona, and Phoenix. And then I had family that lived in Alabama. So it's like, what are you people just trying to make it hotter? What?
Yeah.
My grandparents lived in Lake Tahoe, and then everybody else just lived in hotter environments across the US. I don't understand it.
They don't fucking get it either.
I don't I can understand people say Arizona's beautiful. But if I got to live in a state where I know it's going to be 120 degrees for over a month, yeah, I'm not doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Even 100 degrees for a week is miserable.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. You guys live in those states. I don't see how you could do that. I could not do it. I'd have to like change my shirt every 5 minutes. Every
Most of the time
building
in
I went
summer, we
into.
go without shirts.
Oh, you do that.
Mm.
Oh, well, you men
Okay.
may have that luxury.
Well, I was about to say, because the women have been pushing for the, wearing no shirts and no bras and shit here.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
Yeah,
I remember
that's
in
been
the
a thing for about,
90s.
5 years now, Kimmy?
Sounds about right.
I remember in the
Yeah.
90s, we would do, football training during the summer. And there was about a half a dozen girls that were athletes, and they were on the volleyball team and the, track team and all this. So they would do the summer training with the guys, and they just had their sports bras. And it was like, ooh, yeah, buddy. And it was like, it's just a bathing suit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more than a bathing suit, a sports
Yeah.
bra.
Mhm.
But
Sports
yeah,
bras
now,
are one of the most atrocious things. Those poor ladies.
but, I mean, really, what is it? It's like it's like sweatpants for your breasts.
Pretty much.
It's-
And it definitely makes you sweat twice as much. It's god awful. Those things are
It just,
horrendous.
to me, it just seemed like it held everything, or didn't hold. It
It keeps it
constricted
from
everything.
bouncing, is the
But it was
entire
like-
point of them.
It just looked like it was would make you super sweaty. Like
Yup.
they were making sports bras before they even had wicking fabric. So I couldn't even imagine. Yeah, you take off your sports bra, you wring it out. You're like drip, 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 drip.
No.
Yup.
It's like
Completely
a
accurate.
chamois. Oh my god. it's so
Oh, man. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I might fall asleep.
I'm surprised you lasted this long. But
Yeah,
thank
it's
you for
after
having me.
3.
I
Yeah,
enjoyed
yeah,
it.
brother.
It was
Anytime,
super
man.
fun.
Anytime,
But
bro.
yeah, I'll have to jump on with you guys. What was this tonight, even?
Well, it turned into, what the hell, it's Friday. That was the first stream's name. And then we got tagged. So this is
Oh,
like,
yeah.
whoops, we made a boo-boo stream.
Yeah, that's right. But it wasn't, because I was like, yeah, because I was totally thinking back to it, and I was like, wait, isn't that Tuesdays? Isn't this Friday? Like, totally threw me off. I will admit, all you guys having your streams on certain days kind of keeps me regular,
See, look, you're throwing off his groove.
Well, because we probably weren't going to stream tomorrow. since we're going to be on with Fat Steven,
Okay.
then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just do something tonight. Because I had a hankering and everybody was streaming and was like, well, fuck it. Let's just go.
I kind of like the live streaming thing. I mean, I haven't really got super involved in anything yet, but I just like the. Just seems like you can go to the bar and just talk with your buddy.
Yeah.
And
And-
and that is just not something that people have really anymore. I mean, even 10 years ago, how many people could actually go to a bar and have a conversation?
Yeah.
And not, you know what I mean? There's just not a lot of people you can do that with about
Yeah,
anything.
absolutely.
Hey, let's talk sports. Let's talk Star Wars. You fucking fag, get out of here. You know what I mean? You know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I was telling Matt Cave on the other stream. Is like, I'm glad the channel took that direction. It just kind of evolved into it. That we're just the place to come hang out, have a beer, whatever, and just kick back and chill and bullshit.
Yeah, I have to admit that because I'm doing the new job now, but I'm like, God, man, I need to start planning ahead so I can enjoy some of the streams. So I'm not just like, oh, I'm at work and it's like, God, I need to work my ass off so I can just enjoy the stream with my friends
Yeah.
and have it and not just be, oh, I'm watching, but I'm doing something. It's like, no, it really feels like I want to sit down with my buddies, have that brew or watch the game or talk about, we'll be talking about Boba Fett here in a couple weeks. But
Yeah.
See, I had my boss switch my schedule just for that reason, so I could make all the Saturday streams and lurk in the chat. And
I'm sorry, but
She's making commitments.
this
man.
last week of this year, Matrix 4, Christmas,
Yeah.
Book of Boba, New Year's Eve,
Oh, dude, I am stoked.
I'm gonna be very tired. And it's gonna be a lot of late nights.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's gonna be all worth it, man.
It's gonna be great.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. What, a week now? We got a week.
Yes.
That's gonna be a fun week.
Yeah, let's see. A week from today is Christmas, and then it'll be a week from next Wednesday.
Is Matrix? I think Matrix is like the 22nd,
Yes,
and then
Matrix
Christmas
is less than a
25th,
week.
and then we have Book of Boba 29th.
29th.
Is that what it is? Okay, and then New Year's. Literally like something happens 2 days later. Something happens 2 days later. Something happens 2 days later.
The Witcher came out today. Then we got Matrix. Then Book of Boba. Then Cobra Kai.
Oh,
Yeah.
I need to catch up on that a little bit. I don't think I've
God.
seen. I think I'm through season 2, maybe.
Oh, season 3.
I haven't
is
really
so
seen.
good.
I haven't really seen them interact with each other in the schools.
Yeah.
yet. So
Yeah,
I
that,
think
comes to fruition in season 3.
okay. So yeah, so probably almost
So
done
you
with
made it-
season 2.
Okay, you're almost done with season 2. Okay,
I
well,
would think it's been a while since I watched it. I started watching a few other things because I started watching it. I was like, okay, finally I can take some time, and then it was just like boom, straight through.
yeah.
At least a season and a half straight through. I was like, oh my god, this is fantastic. So good. I love it when such a cheesy movie and to come back and be so good and to work, and it really works. The story's convincing, the characters, the turns they took are convincing. I enjoy it.
It's like this is what Disney should have done with Star Wars. You bring in the new people, but pay homage to the old ones, and the passing of the torch is just so flawless.
Yeah.
It's like you can do it; it's possible, but they just won't.
What do we expect? I mean, Kathleen Kennedy was in everybody's shadow for 40 years.
Well, yeah, that and
it took her. We should be thankful. It only took her 5 to know she can't do it.
yeah. And the thing about it is everybody's like, this is not a popular opinion at all. But everybody's like blaming Kathleen Kennedy for Gina Carano getting fired and all this crap going on with Star Wars. No, she's not. It's her underlings, the people she
It's
hired.
it's the people she hired. Yes.
Yes.
It's
It's not
she
her at all.
hired for agenda, not experience or
Mhm.
what they can bring. It's what can you bring that I like?
Yeah.
You know, it
Like the
wasn't
force is
what do you
female.
have
Bring
to
me that shit.
offer? Why would I hire you? Well,
Yeah.
what would you do if I hired you? You
Yeah.
know, kind of thing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
get. Yeah,
I mean,
fully,
it's like
fully,
with any. I mean, people forget. It's like with any major company or just any company in general. The president has got no clue what's going on down on the front lines.
okay.
No
Yes,
clue.
exactly. Okay, here we can nutshell this.
Yeah.
Trump is a great business owner. Horrible president. Kathleen Kennedy,
Hmm.
great assistant. Horrible producer. when she gets a certain amount of control, it's not her talent. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all. She can bring good producers together. She can bring the right people together. But when she has control and she wants to do her own thing, she doesn't have enough experience to do what is going to make money. She's
Yeah.
still trying to experiment. And it's like, no, you can't experiment with Star Wars. The experiment with Star Wars was in 1980. They made it work. You can't fuck
Yeah.
with it anymore.
Yeah.
If you fuck with it, it could go away forever.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the most unpopular opinion. Is society right now is what we get with women who are in charge that go unchecked.
Which to me is
I mean,
what it's they are the men.
it's not
of
the fact that they're
40 years
women;
ago.
it's the fact that they're going unchecked. There's nobody to put them in check
And
because
that's the
everybody's
thing.
like, "Oh, I
is
don't want to get me too'd."
I think women are doing what men did, but they're gonna get everything that men did. There's gonna be women that pursue power and corrupt that power and manipulate
already done
people and cheat on people and embezzle. Now, you wanted it all, you get it all. You get all the good things that come with it, and you get to be every bit as fucked up as we ever were. You know, that's what you wanted. You want it all, you get it all. You know, you get every bit of it.
No. I mean,
So
you asked
in
for it.
10 years, white women are going to be the most hated thing on the planet. So, well, it will
Can we
roll.
time travel?
On the
It's-
list of
it's-
things I have to look forward to.
I mean, it's rolling. It's rolling right through. It's already started because they're already going off the idea that white women are hijacking a lot of these movements, and I feel like they are too. It's like you don't need to be offended for a minority.
Yeah,
There's
think about it.
plenty of them to be offended.
The Washington
You know.
Redskins, for example, the people who bitched about it were white. All the
I
Native
mean-
Americans were like, "We ain't got no problem with this." It's
Again,
like,
I
okay, you go
go-
after the Washington Redskins, but
Yeah.
you don't go after the Kansas City Chiefs. What the fuck?
Yeah. Or, I mean, even you go further, the Seminoles and all the college teams, you know, the Braves, you know,
Yeah.
all of it. All of it is just so stupid. It's just, yes. And literal studies have shown that only a minority of Native Americans were offended by that. The majority didn't care.
Yeah,
But we're still
got
we're
casinos.
bending to the minority of the minority.
Yeah.
The minority of the Native Americans who, to be honest, I'm Native American. We're Indians.
Kimmy's got Native
wasn't-
American blood in her. I've got
India
Native
wasn't
American blood
called
in me.
India when North America was discovered. It was called something else. So Indian didn't mean from India.
They thought they were from the West Indies.
Yes, or indigenous. So
Yeah.
Indian, indigenous, you know, but they they may have
Well,
thought they were
they
in
were in the
India,
West Indies.
but it just doesn't
they
even
didn't know
make
they were here.
sense chronologically. It's like India wasn't even a word.
Yeah,
So how can Indian be offensive?
I don't see how
If-
anything can be offensive if it was used before.
It's just us. Well, I'm gonna take
can't-
offense for them.
Yeah,
No, you
it's
don't
like,
get to do that. You
no,
don't get
shut
to
the
do
fuck
that.
up. Shut the fuck up.
I mean, honestly, when it really comes down to it, if a crossing guard is trying to stop traffic and a child still gets hit, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That crossing guard is not going to be any less responsible than that other person. And that's what we're in now. It's like, if don't say nothing, because then you're responsible.
Nope.
Don't say nothing opposing it. No, not for it, not nothing.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
But
yeah.
But-
Well, I'm gonna kill it. Thank y'all
Yeah.
so much for being here and
Thanks.
hanging out with us tonight. It's been just a surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one. So anyway, y'all take care, and remember, no matter where you are in the galaxy, you will always have a spot at our table. Y'all
Happy
take
Life
care.
Day.